I'm Coach Joey D. Welcome to Coach's Corner. One of the questions that came across my desk the other day was seniors and golf, which is really interesting because I just got my AARP card. I'm thinking, am I in that category? Am I in that category? But anyway, I'm in the category. So as seniors, what are we thinking about? And here we are. We've approached retirement. We've been sitting in a desk for 20 plus years. And we're thinking, my gosh, I got to clean out my desk, and they're going to have my retirement party, and it happens. And in the retirement party, right there, is a brand new set of golf clubs. So now you're about to resurge your career. But you've spent no time on the driving range. You've played less than a round of golf a year on an average for 20. So you got 20 rounds in maybe, and now you're going to go get started. What do you do to not get hurt? But anyway, we'll get more serious. That's a great question because prehabilitation is probably the best thing that we've ever discovered to not get injured as you're about to resurge something that requires the most moving parts out of any game sport ever played. And now we have to really think about, we've been sedentary for a long time, what do we do? Well, what I like is I want you to consider what you have to do. So think of the body as a whole. I have to actually now figure out what's anatomical neutral mean. And that's a very overcomplicated word for saying, how do I stand properly and not look like this, right? So that actually requires a lot of opportunity to create awareness. So when you're standing there, I would actually do what I call a mirror drill. And I'd take my club, and I basically would stand in front of a mirror straight on, and then down the line, and take a look. What do you see? Are you standing too tall? Are your knees bent too much? Is your back rounded? Are you too upright? These are all great opportunities for awareness. And if you think about those little things that we just did, just standing at a dress and using a mirror drill, right? And players do it all the time. They are always working in a mirror because your mind has to have the opportunity to create feel, but feel then has to transition to real, right? You're going to go out and swing this club, and it doesn't matter if your speed is 50 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, you're going to have a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that happen. Don't jump in before you do something that makes sense. So awareness is an opportunity for you to say, where do I start? What do I do? Right? So think about the things that are most important on prehabilitation. I have to make sure that my knees that might not be handling, and let's just say an extra 20, 30 pounds over 2 decades of working in a corporate office or somewhere at a job where you're sitting a lot, or I don't care if you're a truck driver, or you drove for one of the parcel delivery services, if you've been sitting at a desk for years, and it doesn't matter. What matters is you're creating opportunity to say, where do I start? So if you stand there and you go, my knees don't flex enough and I can't really feel what's going on below your belt line, below your waist, this is an opportunity to say, I got to work on strengthening my legs. If you stand there and you round your back too much, you know that to create a really good golf swing, you've got to have really good posture. So that means all of the muscles in your torso or your core, and you hear this word a lot, everything that goes from basically your waistline, your belt line, to the top of your chest, and all the way around your body from front to back, right? All of the muscles in the abdomen. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter how fit you are or maybe how out of shape you are. We all have the same muscles that go on in our body, but we may not have felt them or used them in a long time. But they all matter when it comes to swinging a club. So that's another thing to think about. And then just taking a practice swing as if you were just, using your arm to act like you were moving an iron to the top of your backswing. What do you feel, right? And do you feel like restriction? Do you feel like your arm's moving in the wrong direction? Do you get that ability to create a 90-degree position? Because that's where the club has to end up. Your arm needs to look similar to this, not this or this, right? So those are other opportunities to create awareness when you're going through these mirror drills. So here are a couple of quick things I would think about. If you're new at it and your lower body's weak, you can go into our exercise library. you can figure out on your own, what do I do? And simple things, safety first, prehab. So before you really start swinging hard and heavy and you want to outdrive your partner, get over there and use an air bench and sit in this position. I don't know, 10 seconds, start off at 10 seconds. See if you can get to 20, then 30. It's a progression. You don't just quickly get right there. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you start taking the opportunity to put down where you need to be stronger, where you need to find your weaknesses and just get rid of them all. And you know, when we look at basically the mirror drill and we actually stand with a slouchy posture, right? Then all of a sudden you go, I can't hit a golf ball like that. I actually have to have a better awareness of what goes on in my core. So by taking an exercise ball and putting it behind you, you can actually push your belt buckle back into the ball, and that one little position starts to activate your core and the musculature in your core. And it's a quick thing, but it's a great drill to prehabilitate before you get out there and start swinging with bad posture. It creates bad results and you can get hurt. And the other thing that really comes to mind is what happens when I try to get that club to the top of my backswing? Well, shoot, I can't even turn. So now there's another drill that you can do with the ball behind you standing up, and you just basically put it in between your shoulder blades and you put a little pressure, right? And you do that little drill where you push your belt buckle back into the ball, and then you just start to work on your turn. So you think backswing and follow through. It's pretty simple, but it's prehabilitation. It starts to work on activating things that might be really inactive. And then I think about the last thing is just standing there doing this 90-90 starts to create mobility and opportunity to get things moving again. And then as time goes by, we use resistance bands, right? We hook them up to an anchor point and they're bilateral. So, you know, they're independent, and we start working on these very simple but effective drills, right? And then you can turn and you can, you know, another thing that happens is the big problem with playing again is we lose that ability to know where do the arms, how does the body work, and you see a lot of players just chicken wing because they can't turn and they have no mobility. So anyway, take those very simple things and begin your prehab progression. One of the questions I get asked is, Coach, why a mirror drill? I don't have a mirror out on the range. Actually, many teaching professionals do have mirrors on the range, and they also have mirrors within the teaching bays because we're trying to create awareness of perception and reality. Do you know why most players or most people don't want to put themselves under a microscope or on a camera? They don't really want to see what's real, because what you think you're doing, you don't even know it's happening. So let me give you a couple of tips, right? And I think 23 years is a lot of validation for understanding what's real and what's not. I'm going to tell you this. Improper knee flexion on the lower body leads to disaster, okay? Because if you can't flex your knees, that's a problem. You can't activate the musculature in your lower body, right? You have to have awareness down there and strength. Well, if you can't turn, you're going to put a lot of stress unnecessarily on the low back and the spine. That's just a fact. I don't care who you talk to. People go, how'd you do? I had to quit after 7, 8, or 9. Why? My back hurts so bad I couldn't turn anymore. Okay, well, the other thing that we've noticed is all of a sudden now people's shoulders start to hurt. Well, there's a lot of moving parts that go on as that club takes itself from the standstill position on its journey all the way through to the top of the backswing. And then it returns, and all of these moving parts and that's an opportunity for you to create awareness that you can't swing like this, right? You can't swing like this. You know, you can't come over the top or come underneath too much. It creates very awkward, risky positions that really put you in danger. And I'm not saying it's danger like you're going to go cliff diving. I'm saying it's danger because you're risking something you don't have to. And really, all that takes is that simple mirror drill to prevent injury. So if you have bad posture, correct it. If you have no lower body awareness, you just can't swing with your upper body. If you have shoulder mobility issues or lack of movement, do what I asked you to do. You're going to find out that just by doing simple things using your body, you will create great opportunities. And remember, you can't get these results overnight. That's unrealistic. So once again, Somebody goes, well, I did that once last week. Sorry, going to the range once or playing golf once a year doesn't get us to scratch. So let's stay in reality, let's stay real, and let's get to work.